You know what? I'm not even going to hate on it. I'm kind of feeling it right
Yeah, you feeling it?
Yeah. I was already looking forward to the series just a little more right now. I think it's going to be really fun. I actually do think Bly is going to be the crazier one of the two. I think Haz is a little more lately of like the Immortal, Warp Prism, Zealot kind of stuff than he is of the super early, crazy early game stuff. But we'll see.
We will see indeed. In the top left here, the Taiwanese Protoss. He is Haas.
This is lower bracket round 4, by the way. If you would have ever told me that Haz against Bly was going to be lower bracket round 4, I would have been like, nah, that's a little crazy, man. These brackets are too tough for that to happen. But we're here, and I do think it's awesome. Representing Raise Your Edge Gaming in the right bottom side. Look at the main base of our Ukrainian crazy Zergy. It is Bly. I hope for Bly that he just has a better showing than in his previous series, because he had such a good run of making it to that qualification match already. I feel like if any Zerg ever voluntarily takes their base on the low ground further away than where they're supposed to take it, they're going to all-in you. Like Roach Ling all-in, Ling Flood, Bailing Bust. That's almost the only thing that makes sense. In the early days, we would sometimes defend it. Oh, whoa, he didn't expand it all. Okay.
No. I was about to interrupt you,
no,
Roddy, but
no, he did.
He's expanding, but he did send out that early drone, which I think still means he wants to hatch block the Nexus, yeah.
That kind of stuff is really annoying to deal with, by the way. Like certain Protosses, they don't seem to sweat it very much. I'm gonna be honest, I always panic a little bit when this happens. I'm like, oh man, like do I pull probes? Do I chrono boost the Zealot? Do I build a cannon? Okay, this is what we signed up for, Maynard.
This is the debate pylon. Trying to force a big reaction out of Bly here. Haas is Haas, and Bly knows that he could drop a real rush here, but of course it is just a fake. Bly doesn't take the bait over here, and Haas is forced to get that Zealot out as the Cybercore is on the way to be able to deal with the proxy hatch.
But this can get very weird though, because Haas might just look at this and be like, cool, now you can defend my either 3-gate, 4-gate with batteries, or proxy Robo, or proxy Stargate. I can feel this becoming a very, very weird game, because I think Haas is going to build a Stargate on the south side of the map.
That's not a bad call here. He'd have a probe down here to the south side, down at 6 o'clock, and there is that pylon. And with the 4 probes and the Zealot, that is enough to DPS down this hatchery, make its hit points go down faster than it's gaining them, basically.
Yep.
So the hatchery does heal when it builds.
The most important thing whenever they hatch block you is that the queen doesn't come out, right? Because once the queen comes out and then somehow drops the creep tumor as well, I mean, that's it. You're not going to be able to expand for the next 5 minutes, and then you are dead. Now, I wonder if Haz is going to go super crazy. Like, is this just going to be an Oracle, 2 Oracles? Or is he going to follow it up with more craziness? What if he starts building like Void Rays and then like Precious with Gateway units as well?
Well, that's one of the wonderful things about these two players is you just don't know. Like, we try as commentators to analyze and guess what's going to happen, like have a best case guess scenario, just an educated guess, if you will, but it is so tough with these two guys. They have an absolutely huge utility belt of builds in this matchup, or all matchups.
Yeah. So some people might think, like, shouldn't Bly just like always build a Spore Crawler here? Isn't it likely that there is a proxy Stargate? It's like, well, first of all, he wasn't in the main base, so he doesn't necessarily know that. And second of all, imagine if this is a 3-gate or a 4-gate and you build 2 Spore Crawlers. That's a disaster, because those won't do anything for you at all. So it's not that easy of a call to make for Bly. Obviously, we know that's the call he's supposed to make, but let's see if he's able to figure it out.
Bly had a Ling go down the south, but I think it actually might have just scouted the proxy or maybe just walked past. We've got 2 Adepts here in the main base getting some drone kills. I got 1 so far. Looking for that second. Plenty of Lings here from Bly.
Yeah, he saw it. He's sending the Ling back, Maynard. Good call.
There it is. So he did come back. He got on that pylon. So that's very, very important. Obviously, Spore Crawlers are on the way. He's still building Queens. He's got to get that one up in the natural, of course, because of how the game started. Doesn't quite have as many Queens as you would at this point. Oracle number 1 coming on out. How's Bly's defense looking?
Queens, or 2 queens?
Yeah, 2 queens. That's more than enough.
Yep. I mean, I actually kind of like it for Bly right now, because even though he's down 3 workers, he already has a lot of Zerglings out on the map, and that Nexus isn't even done yet on the other side of the map. Now, of course, we know that Haz can get a lot of value out of just a couple of units, because if Haz is good at one thing, it's at being annoying in a game of StarCraft 2.
Yeah, getting maximum damage out of the small amounts of units that he's made. And he's shading into the main base here, the drones drilling against those Adepts. This is actually getting a little awkward for Bly, as it's just drones on their own, and they definitely don't want to be up against two Adepts by themselves.
Yep, I have no idea how these Adepts were this successful. It's actually quite crazy. There have been so many Lings out, 3 Queens. The Adept gets out again. Are you kidding me? How is this possible? 10 kills!
Yeah, 10 kills in the day. So obviously not too many of those are drones, but a lot of Lings have died. Keep in mind that Bly losing Lings, they aren't free either, even though they're cheap. So he's forced to drone up a lot here to try and catch back up in that economy. Haas is going for a Robo, Twilight Council, and Resonating Glaive, so a Prism-based Adept attack, I think, might be in the mix here for our Taiwanese Protoss.
Yeah, those are becoming very popular, by the way, over the last few months.
Yeah, seeing a lot in PvZ.
And they have a lot of like Dark Shrine follow-ups as well, and it's cool stuff, because I don't want to say that Has was a tiny bit indecisive, but he did start off charge first, and then he's like, nah, no charge. I actually think my opponent is very broke, and something you can't really produce when you're very broke is roaches, so it's a lot more likely that Bly wants to defend whatever is coming with Zerglings and Queens. Well, Adept with Resonating Glaives, pretty damn good against both of them.
Absolutely right. The Korean Protoss has been doing this a bit as well. Like, you're seeing a little more. Even like people like Zest, who are normally a very predictable Protoss, actually been throwing in quite a few Adept All-Ins in some of these games against Zerg.
I mean, they're so good with it, right? Because it's so hard for a Zerg to figure out where your units are supposed to be. If you leave like the Lings in the natural and the Queens at the front, the Adepts will just cancel the shade and they actually win the fight against the Queens. The only thing you don't want as a Protoss is fight Lings and Queens at the same time. But if you can fight only one of them, you're always going to do well with your Adepts.
Very important Overlord here for Bly. He sees the Twilight Council being chrono boosted, he sees the Robo being chrono boosted, and that is a big tell that aggression is on the way. So, Bly does have a Roach Warren on the way. The Roaches are the units that you need to face a whole lot of Adepts. He's pulling all these Lings back as well. And he might also want some... In fact, he's got a Spine Crawler on the way, so he's expecting something from the house here right now.
That was very sloppy. He tried to save one of his drones early game with an Evo Chamber, but it actually allowed... The Evo Chamber actually completed, so now he has to kill it. But because of that, now this Queen is way too exposed because the Lings were out of position. I really don't think that Bly can save this hatchman. Yes, there are 10 Roaches on the way, but by the time that these 10 slow Roaches, don't forget, because we're working with hatchery tech over here, there's no lair, there's no Roach speed. By the time that Roaches would ever be here, this hatchery is dead, and at that point, every Protoss player in the world loves having 2 Nexus against 2 hatcheries.
Yes, they do. And Haas isn't even reinforcing this attack just yet. He's still probing up back at home. He's like, wow, I'm in a really good spot here.
Yeah. It's like, what do I do? Do I still attack? Like
I mean, he definitely wants to. Every muscle in his body is screaming at him to just shade it to the main base of Bly. But it might be a bad idea, Rotterdam, because there is still a lot of Zerg. He made 10 Roaches. They're slow, but on creep, they are quite useful.
This is like where he's got the Devil and the Angel on his shoulder, right? And the Angel's like, Has, you're in a really good position, man. Just build probes. And the Devil's like, you've always been in all in it. Just do it again, man. Fight,
I think the Devil on Haas's shoulder strangled and killed that Angel 6 years ago. I'm not sure it's alive anymore. The Nexus getting DPS down by these Lings. It looks like the Nexus actually might be saved here. It's very, very low.
Oh my goodness.
Just saves it. Wow. I mean, you know, honestly, that Angel might have come back from the death, dude, because he is getting a 3rd Nexus.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, like, at this point, there's no reason. Like, he's still gonna attack, don't get me wrong. He's probably gonna get, like, +1, and then he's gonna have Zealot charge, and he's like, man, everything I have is so good here. I might even... Shall I get 2 Archons? When's the last time I made an Archon? 2017? It doesn't matter. I'll make an Archon, okay? I'm that far ahead. I mean, Has right now knows that the world is his oyster, and he can kind of do whatever the hell he wants. I think Bly only has one option, and that's maybe go for, like, a Queen Nidus Roach, but that's just never going to work because you're all-inning an army that's already stronger than your army.
Bly's got so much gas in the bank right now. He's making 7 Overlords, so it feels like he just wants to make a ton of Roaches right now and go across the map. He's starting up some Lings, so that's... I mean, he's going to have a bit of gas just sitting there.
Maybe
not
10
super
Ravages
sure. Yeah, there you go. Ravages. That'll do it. 75 gas a pop.
I do like that, because Ravages can create some comebacks. Obviously, Corrosive Bow is sick. If you can land a couple of Corrosive Bows in the middle of, like, sentries, or on top of an Immortal, or maybe the War Prism just picked up an Immortal and then somehow you kill it. But obviously, don't get me wrong, this is going to be very difficult for Bly. But hey, with these Ravages, at least he can maybe hold the ramp for a little bit.
Ravages can work magic, like you mentioned. If the Biles actually connect, they can also zone back. Pick up the War Prism would be a great part for this hold as well. Potential hold for Bly is that there's still a lot of Protoss. Immortal on that front line. The Prism is here to be able to juggle units as well. If that Archon and the Immortals get in trouble, they will be sucked up into the Prism and pulled back to safety. Haas going for that Warp in outside of Bile range, and this Protoss army really pushing back those Ravages against the wall. Bly bleeding out units here. He's got a lot of Roaches there in that natural still, but he is getting up a lot of ground here to Haas.
He's trying to get out as many units as he possibly can. I'm afraid it's just a little bit too late. On the other side of the map, by the way, just a couple of Zerglings killed 14 probes. Haas is just like not paying attention at all. That War Prism, can the Prism go down? The Queen gets it! The Queen gets the Prism. Can Bly hold?
Oh, he has to hold. I mean, no more reinforcements for Haas. That's one less thing to worry about, but he still has to mop up these Protoss units, which are tearing apart his natural. Force fill in that ramp as well, so anything coming out of the main is going to be denied. And it looked like a pretty important unit up there to the north side. Actually, the Immortal getting completely surrounded by the drones and the Roaches trying to get it as well with the The Zealot just chasing down these drones. It is an absolute scrap here between both players.
Yeah,
it feels like Haas is getting the better end of it.
Yeah, I think he just barely has enough, right? Like, those two Immortals are probably just not going to go down anymore. It actually got a lot closer than it ever should have been, especially because Has was taking economic damage as well on the other side of the map. But now Bly just lost his Roach Wine, which means he can only produce Zerglings, and there is still an Archon in the mix and a lot of Adepts with Resonating Glaives and Zealots with +1, talking about a horror scenario for Zerglings.
Yeah, that's a very, very rough ask for them. The Roach is pressed up against that third base mineral line. Bly, in true Bly fashion, is just trying to pull a rabbit out of the hat with whatever he has left. He's looking at everything he has. He's going to try his best, but the numbers just aren't there.
How is he building Roaches if he's building a Roach Wand? So he must have had another Roach Wand, so he had 2 Roach Wands. With the Brootlings, he's going to try to surround. We've got drones just chilling in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, they got nowhere to go, man.
Yeah, the Roaches, it's just not enough.
Yeah, Bly does have to tap out there, unfortunately for him, but Haas gets game 1 and a cheeky little chat to the person right next to him as well.
You know what I always love about Has is that he can look so good and so mediocre in the same game, because you know, you gotta give him kudos for the beginning, right? He did amazing with those 2 Adepts. The Oracle, it didn't really get the dream start, but how much value he got out of those 2 Adepts, and he was clearly driving Bly nuts. Because Bly, who tried to save one of his drones by morphing into an Evo chamber, actually accidentally let it finish up.
Yeah.
And later on, he's gonna try to take out his own Evo chamber, so you lose the drone. He was also out of position. I mean, Has looked so good in the first few minutes, and then he's like, attack! And it's like, maybe like 1 shield battery and 2 Zealots at home, and this game never even becomes close, okay? But in the end, I guess his army was just a little too strong.
And there's 2 Zerglings going across the map and killing 17 probes.
Yes. Only in a Has
It's wild, man. It's wild. You can't say this isn't entertaining StarCraft, ladies and gentlemen out there.
I really love the decision, by the way, of starting off with Glaives and then going into charge later. Because if Bly is that broke after that start, which he will always be because of the proxy hash, because of the amount of mining time that he lost with his drones running around, the amount of drones that he lost, and the amount of Zerglings he was forced to produce early on, I think a Resonating Glaives follow-up is absolutely brilliant.
It was very, very brilliant. Absolutely. And he gets game number 1 and a well-deserved victory as well. Bly clearly very visibly frustrated with game 1 and his mistakes in that one. And he's going to have to pull his socks up and basically delete game 1 from his brain so he can start game 2 fresh. Because that is a little bit tilting there for Bly. And Haas is the man that will, I mean, he was born in the tilt, molded by it. He will take you in a 2-0 if you get too upset. We've seen it before, and hopefully we don't see it again for Bly fans.
I mean, things in these tournaments can be a slippery slope, right? Like, you're having an amazing run as Bly, and then you have a kind of a good start against Innovation. It looks promising, and you make one big mistake where you lose all your Ravagers, where it probably shouldn't have happened. And it kind of feels like it's all been downhill ever since. Game 2 against Inno, nothing went his way. Game 1 against Has, not too many things went his way either.
Oh, in the top left here, currently up 1 in the series. The Taiwanese Protoss. You know him, you love him. He is Haas.
If he wins this series, guys, Has is 1 match away from qualifying for the group stage, which I would think would be absolutely crazy, but also awesome at the same time.
Oh, in the bottom left, or bottom right, excuse me. I had 2 options and that was the wrong one that I picked. It is Raise Your Edge Gaming's Bly.
And once again, this game is not starting off very standard mainly. There is a drone being sent out. He also sends a drone to the low ground. Does not have the money yet to take this hatchery. So he's going to queue up another drone instead. If you're Has right now, I'd always be a little bit worried. Because like, if you get a hatch block against Bly, what does it even really mean, right? Like, did he really want to take it in the first place? In the end, he does. Look at Has. He's getting a Forge. Uh-oh. What is this going to be, our good friend?
Well, the drone's going to see it, obviously. But as it goes there to the natural to take his proxy hatchery, he's got the money for that hatchery, so it seems like the plan.
Do you take it now, or do you just put the drone on patrol?
I feel like you don't, because the forge really makes it unattractive, right? Like, you're gonna whatever comes out of that's gonna die really quickly. He doesn't really have to pull probes, and he also has to respect the fact that cannons can be happening right in his face down there in the natural.
I think once this starts off like this, I think the best thing you can do if you're Bly right now is just cancel that hatch. Like, obviously you want him to warp in like a cannon, you want to see these pylons finish up, but then I think don't be Starborn and cancel the hatchery, because eventually this is gonna go really bad. Like, you want to see him make the investment, but then I think you gotta give up. I don't think you're gonna take out these cannons anymore, man.
I mean, he's trying to drill through that pylon, but he's not getting it. Haas thought about a third cannon there, cancels it in the end. Bly just trying to keep that drone alive there in the main base.
Hatchery in the main?
I think that's actually, we've seen Bly do it before.
Hatchery in the main.
There it is. And this is one of the more interesting ways to deal with this kind of cannon rush. I mean, Haas has taken games off Serral himself with his cannon rush robo-proxies, but this isn't one of those just yet.
That final was good, by the way.
Yeah, the Valencia final for 2018.
I mean, it was disgusting, and even I think Serral was legit proper angry after those games.
Oh, absolutely, 100% he was angry.
Yeah, but that was a really entertaining final with a lot of very close moments.
That was peak Haas. That's when he got so many fans. And actually, it was that game, or that series, that got him invited to GSL vs. the World as well. The fan vote.
Well, we have a
hatchery found.
Yep, working on that hatchery. I think if you're Bly, you can let this finish. Oh, he doesn't even have another hatchery. I thought he re-expanded, by the way, on the south side, but that is not the case. This is starting to get really awkward. Now, we do have the first roaches on the way already, but Haas is not crazy. He hasn't even expanded yet, and he's like, if you want to play one base against one base, I mean, it's the same thing, right? As I said in the previous game, Protoss players are always fine with being on an equal amount of bases as the Zerg. 2 base against 2 base, fantastic for Protoss. 1 base against 1 base, I would say even better, because it's so hard for a Zerg to transition out of any sort of 1 base play. And for Protoss is just chilling at this point, because you already have the tech, you already have the Stargate, while Zerg is stuck on hatchery tech.
Do you go straight for a Void Ray here, Haas?
Oh, I would absolutely go for a Void Ray.
There it is. The Void Ray being made here, a lot of people memeing on this unit saying it's not useful, but when you're getting one base rushed with a few slow Zerglings and a Roach, absolutely you go for it. Broodling's looking for any probe kills. I don't think they got any.
Nope. I love the batteries as well, and the natural just be extra safe at this point. I would like to see a backup pylon, you know, in a crazy world where you somehow lose that pylon and everything gets unpowered. But this looks so bad for Bly, there's no other way to put it. Because simply, this is very simple RTS, guys. He has nothing that shoots up, and there is an air unit that does a lot of damage to ground units.
I mean, technically he's got a Ravager, but hitting the Void Ray of someone as good as Haas seems a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, but 4 times as well, and then near a shield battery where you need to hit like 5 corrosive balls at once. Like, there's just nothing you can do here.
Yeah, Bly unfortunately has to pull back out of that natural attack with his tail between his legs. Did not get a whole lot done here. That Void Ray really shuts it down, and Bly starts droning.
And this
but
is
he's on one base still.
Yeah, this is where you expand immediately. Okay. This is where you expand immediately as Haas, and that's exactly what he does. But even this is going to be hard for Bly to keep around.
It's still 2 base, 2 base.
Yep, because Haas could actually like follow this up with maybe a Phoenix or a second Void Ray. Okay, there's our second Void. No, there he's like Void Ray Phoenix. I'm going to make fun of Roddy for a little bit. But this is actually really smart because, like, let's say Bly sends a Queen to the low ground, right, to protect that hatchery. Well, the Phoenix flies in, it can lift the Queen, the Void Ray and the Phoenixes can absolutely take care of this. Oh, he already has 2 Void Rays. Man, this is so bad for Bly. How many Queens does Bly have? One. The Void Rays can just take out the Queen and then take out the hatchery and pretty much win the game. I hate to be that guy, Maynard, but that's kind of what's happening over here.
It does not look good. Prismatic alignment, the Kamehameha is coming down there on that natural hatchery. It is not going to happen. Obviously, without creep and just with 1 Queen, they're never going to win that battle. A second Stargate starts for Haas as well.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's the safest and best play you can make here because there is simply no anti-air. So why would you ever stop building air units?
Yeah, well, he's going to be. He can either go into just double Stargate Phoenix or he can go into double Void Rays. Both of them honestly seem like a really good idea. He's got a lot of money right now to be able to do either.
You can even go for the Fleet Beacon and the Chat Veins upgrade.
Why not? Bly going for the counterattack here with those Ravagers. The Pylon does depower part of this wall, but it is still powering the Stargate, which means that he can not only warp into this location, but also just have those Stargate units continue to be produced. Yeah. Bly getting a little bit of damage done here with these Ravagers, but unfortunately, I think he might just lose the Ravagers here if he hangs around a little bit too long, which is something that he really can't afford to lose.
I mean, he's still on 1 base. This is disastrous. If this is a ladder game, I'll guarantee you literally everybody else would be out already. Obviously, this is your tournament live on the line. You hope for miracles. You want to make a miracle possible.
Absolutely.
He's going for the lair right now, so what do? Nidus or 1 base Spire? I mean, come on, that's never going to work. Basically, nothing can work at this point. I think Bly is just kind of thinking about it at this point, and it's like...
If he had more Queens and a Nidus Worm, maybe, but...
No. Nope. I mean, the Phoenixes can always come back, but even the Void Rays can like win this fight. Prismatic alignment again on the hatchery, gets another cancel. Once you get 1 more, the Queens are a little bit slow. Can he get another one? Not yet. But just wait until the Phoenixes show up. The Phoenixes can lift these Queens, and I'm afraid, Maynard, that's going to be all she wrote for Bly in this tournament. He had a great run, but Haas will move on to the final round of this offline qualifier, and that is very impressive.
Yeah, there is just nothing really going for Bly whatsoever. I mean, we are trying our best to see something that the Zerg has, anything. There is nothing here for Bly to actually fight back here anymore.
There is a fleet beacon going down. He can even follow this up with Tempest in case Bly would build like 17 Spore Crawlers, right? He can just start making Tempest. You can even make 2 base carriers. He could make a mothership right now. And it would be good, Maynard, because everything he would make would be good right now.
Yeah, I mean, Bly's got a lair. He's got a Spore Crawler. Maybe he can detect things under the mothership, but he's got nothing to actually fight back. The mothership by itself might win this game.
How many cancels did he get on hatcheries this game? It's like the 6th or 7th cancel. I mean, that's going to be it, man. There is just nothing that shoots up anymore.
There it is. Bly's, you can just see him in the camera here. He's just talking to himself. He knows that this is basically over. He's just trying to stretch this game out, but there is really nothing going for him here.
Nope, the 20 drone Hydra transition isn't really one that you're going to read a whole lot about because it's just not a thing. Zerg simply doesn't have the economy right now to produce the right amount of Hydras to ever fight 2 Void Rays and 5 Phoenixes.
Yeah, and it's been 46 probes back at home for Haas. 2 bases. I mean, he could very safely take a 3rd Nexus here. He could probably double expand if he wanted to. Bly getting across the map is just not happening in this game.
Yeah, he's like, I think Haas is keeping the game as simple as possible at this point.
Yeah,
he's
just
like
not doing anything silly.
He's like, why would I expose myself over 3 bases and maybe you have like 8 random Zerglings showing up? He is building the Mama ship and 6 gateways. Like, Haas is gonna like recall into the main or something. If Bly doesn't leave
if Bly sticks around for another 10 minutes,
yeah, well,
this mothership will pop out.
Make it 2 minutes. And then that mothership is going to fly to the other side of the map and he's going to recall gateway units into the main base of Bly. And I think that's when the Quake announcer pops up and it's like, humiliation! It's like, wow, I didn't even know that was part of this game.
I was getting nostalgic there for Quake 3 Arena.
Yeah, you love those games, didn't you?
Oh, I love Quake, dude. Such a good game. But yes, I mean, he's making Hydras, he's doing whatever he can with whatever he has. But again, like even making Hydras here, he's not going to be able to produce enough to ever actually beat the amount of production that Haas has as far as air goes. I believe in fighter spirit. I believe in the Eye of the Tiger. And clearly Bly believes as well.
Yep.
But it is a massive stretch here. It is an uphill battle for sure.
We're all familiar with the fantasy GG timing, and Bly is kind of known for leaving games a little bit late. He's doing exactly by the way.
He is doing the offensive recall, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to recall into his main.
I saw Haas smiling as well. I'm looking down at the player cameras and I saw Haas have a bit of a chuckle. He's like, all right, well, I mean like, stick around, okay.
I thought Haas was definitely going to win a series. I was like, he'd probably win 2 series, then like lower bracket round 2 or 3. That should normally be it for him. But getting into lower bracket round 4, awesome. Now he's going into the qualification match. And yes, I know he's made it to a WCS Grand Finals before. But for every sick run that Haas has, he also has like 4 or 5 relatively early exits, right, of tournaments like this.
Yeah, not wrong.
Yep.
Not wrong.
This time it's been just the Haas show, man. He's been playing some really good StarCraft. He's making the correct calls. You want to be crazy against him? Well, he's the master of craziness. And here we go, Maynard. This is your moment.
Yeah, there it is.
A recall into the main base.
Mama is here, and she is angry. He's going to bring those children in very shortly as well. Going to get the minivan, pop it open, let the kids flood out.
He's waiting for energy. Look,
yeah,
97,
energy.
98, 99.
And it is time.
I can't believe he's actually doing this.
Professional StarCraft match, offensive recall in the main base of the Zerg. There it is. Everyone that loves Brood War, rejoice. The giant arbiter that you can only make one of in StarCraft 2, offensively, tactically recalling an entire army into the main base of Bly.
I like how Bly's like, I've got 2 lurkers. Like, let's
yeah, I mean, he does no detection.
Yeah.
Maybe I got this.
What's the worst thing that could happen? Like, I might lose my main, but I've got my natural now. That's pretty good. I was on 1 base before. Why not try it again?
Oracle on the way for Haas, by the way, so detection's about to come in. I actually like, as much as we're, you know, making a few jokes here and there, I actually don't fault Bly at all for sticking around. This is his tournament. Like, this is the last map that he's going to play in IEM Katowice.
Yeah. And I mean, once again, like, we have seen magical comebacks in the past of Bly as well. Just this one, like, we obviously see all the info. Like, he's probably hoping that maybe Haas was a little bit worried and Haas was very broke. It's just not the case. Haas actually wasn't that broke at all. He has been building probes as soon as he realized it was safe to be building probes. These lurkers have no coverage at all. That means the Phoenixes will lift it. GG gets called. Haas takes the 2-0 victory.
That means Haas will move on to the qualifying match here. And is this another one of those magical tournaments where Haas sort of just arrives and defies expectations, taking win after win